welcome back to our lovely IHP community and 5D collective. We have some solar eclipse and new moon 5D ascension energies about. And really what it is that those important days for the 5D collective are experienced quite differently. But as that 5D mystic who's here with spiritual self-help, mindful living and loving messages for those of you who do personal development, what I can initiate and begin to do is this. One, we're taking what Sunday had to share because it's still ongoing. Two, if you're new, you can go to Sunday. You don't have to, because you will always come across whatever it is that is meant to find its way to you. That's how it works. And you always just take what resonates and you leave what doesn't. But what I'm going to add is what doesn't resonate gives you the opportunity to still make use of exploring yourself, because that's exactly why we do Dharma. We explore what we like, we explore what we don't like, and then we explore it with curiosity. So it's with play. That's where Krishna Lila comes in. So you have a Kali and a Shiva, and that means I'm using different words, that's how I do it. But what you're doing, humanly speaking, is mindful living, because I'm going to focus my attention on my awareness, meaning I have emotions coming up and thoughts. Oh, look, I like and don't like. Oh, look, here's my inner growth opportunity. Okay, what am I expanding? Myself. Why? Because I chose myself. Why? Because I chose self-love, first of all, and then I also share that because I live spirituality. And that means you live true spiritually. And true mindfully, mindfulness, all these words, they mean one and the same thing. It means you're in my book, a decent human being who knows how to stay open-hearted, but in technical terms, you're a restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, and regulating person, which is the optimized version of your body and mind. According to attachment trauma information people, therapists, they have a lot of different titles. I won't remember it all, but they all explain to me every day. I'm still learning. That's what a person who cares about what they do, and in my case, self-help, personal development, consultant, holistic practitioner, mentor, again, many words, but they incorporate the one singularity of me supporting you, helping you to be yourself, and sharing content that says I'm doing it all the time. But also I'm a channeler. So right now I'm channeling, but I like to integrate Maria with my channeled guidances because it's really food for thought. You can use it as entertainment. People who don't believe in mysticism, they will make fun of me and my channeled messages, my Akashic record readings, the Reiki practitioner that I am, and being able to do distance healing, the tarot oracle card and channeled guidance messages through that. And so when I say they make fun, I mean they ridicule, they minimize, they dismiss, which I, as a human being who understands logic and sciences and knows that sciences doesn't disprove shit of free will, of God, of the fact that I have a relationship with the sphere of intelligence, but actually the smart scientists who are true scientists, they come together with us. So the only individuals who ridicule anything are the very same ones that are distorted ego, self, not aware person, because the distorted ego makes them what is completely unimpressive to a divine feminine and an empowered divine masculine. I have to add the word because it has to be an empowered divine masculine. And because I'm a divine feminine, I have the honor to present to you the unimpressiveness of any divine masculine that is unempowered. Why unimpressive? Because I'm going to instinctively be aware of so much more that meets the eye because I trust my gut and my feelings, and I don't find it stupid. And I do not ridicule my own self or shame myself or get rigid and get defensive and basically block whatever is coming through in the sensation of me, channeler, but really bodies, okay? I'm coming with channeled guidance messages. So I said I'm integrating Maria into this, but just FYI for any of my regular community, there are things that are different than when I'm speaking to you, okay? So what I'm sharing right now is coming through for people who are following it in a specific way. If you're not, it's okay. Again, you can make fun of it. But what I was trying to say is facades, they don't stand a chance because their vain, insecure ego will have them just doing the same little stories again, again, again. So that's why whenever the ascension energies are about, they don't expand and uncover more of the pure consciousness because they're not even there yet. They don't want to forgive people, and that's because they're not going to the good therapist. So the good therapists are important because you can only embody your humanity if you have the capacity to be objective enough with your subjective, differentiated self, inner world, 1-year-old, 3-year-old, the 7, all your child parts, and say, Maria has likes and dislikes. Cool. I don't need to bring them. That's why I live true spirituality, because I don't need to present my opinion. And when people say, then that means you have no balls, I say, if that's your opinion, that's fine with me. I'm still not going to change what I just said, which is I'm a person who navigates life with neutrality and partiality. I don't cast a stone, and every opportunity that somebody wants to put up their guard, I know that I have a facade in front of me. It's not the embodiment of anything impressive. They lack emotional, mental, and physical intelligence. They lack mental, emotional, physical mastery of their own self. As a human being, they lack the capacity at that moment in time to be in their prefrontal cortex because they're already in their safety behavior brain, which is unimpressive because I now have a 3-year-old with a 16-year-old in front of me. And I get to technically explain this to you, which is really pleasing to me because I knew it as a 16-year-old. My teenage friends were unkind, unimpressive. They didn't keep their words. None of them. They spoke bullshit. I don't like liars. And I started to notice that they all were afraid. And then I said, but I'm 4'9". And I was not liked. So here's Maria's story to integrate with our channeled guidance messages. But apparently all the kids on the bus wanted to beat me up. This is the story that I got told, and my twin was the one who had them stand down. I'm pretty sure they stood down because the minute they would have touched me, I would have went to report them to not only the bus monitor, every single principal, whoever it is, and I would have known that they would have gotten, you see, this is a teenage, because the minute that you want to threaten me, I'm going to go to the higher up. And since I did go to a military school, well, I'm not in favor of any type of rigidity, but guess what? You touch me, I go get defense. I'm going to protect myself. I'm not going to call you evil, Knievel, medieval, devil, demon. No, you're an unkind, yes, unreliable. Why? Your survival mode's all over this. You're a 16-year-old. I guess you didn't get taught how to handle your words, but you are still going to be bigger than me. I'm 4'9". You're going to beat me up. You're going to physically potentially hurt me, maybe even more. You haven't broken a person because, see, this is the part of when you're a divine feminine, at least. I don't have an ego that needs to prove itself to other people, and the heart isn't something that you can break. So sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never harm me. And then there's people say, until they do, not this person, because I own myself. Observe, witness, narrate. Maria's narrative is, I'm a human being who's imperfect and flawed. That doesn't give you the right to touch me physically and to want to harm me physically. I don't agree with violence in any way, shape, or form. Touch me and watch me go report you to the appropriate. This is the tone of equanimity. This is also the tone of a human being who says there's a lot of people that make up a lot of stories as they decided that humanity sucks over and over and over and over again. So I get bored with the lack of intelligence that is out there, but I'm here to share that luckily for all of us, we have smart, intelligent human beings out there who are doing their best to spread the word that the first 3 years of your life matter. And I love to know that at the end of the day, the 5D collective are people who are grounded with sciences and spirituality coming together. So again, when I get made fun of in ways from adults for what is something that is actually an honor, okay? So you don't have to believe in mystics. You don't even have to believe in the source of anything, but I am of faith. And so this is where, as a person who's responsible for what I bring to the table, I make sure to allow those who seek guidance to have guidance, and then to recalibrate them when they will begin to misuse that which is the voice that they have. So I have a voice too. Let me use it effectively. When you have people who are unaware of their self They will be a teenage version. A facade means nothing more than those same teenagers who didn't beat me up because they knew that I would have went to report them. So a grown human being is simply going to vent in their belly, make up some bullshit words, become what are those gossipers, and there you go, unimpressed. Divine masculines, to me, even distorted divine feminines are basically divine masculines without the empowered version. Why? Because the divine masculine is the mind. And the divine feminine is your body heart. The minute your heart's broken, you're not a divine feminine that is empowered. You're a distorted one who's channeling not the truth. You're channeling with an amygdala and a body that is completely not in the connectedness of celestial rose of Ma, is what came forth for our lovely divine feminines. Okay, so I know of them. Those distorted divine feminines, guess what they capture? Well, they capture all the divine masculines who are not empowered because they are not empowered, and they are divine masculines who, as that rabbi pointed out, have a hard time committing. And, well, guess what? The divine masculines doesn't have to be a man, but guess what ego likes to do? Run all around in town like those teenagers. Yeah, so I didn't fear inadequacy when I made my choices of standing in Maria's self-empowered teenage attitude. Nope, I was totally cool with being a pain in, I don't know, don't care. Evil bitch, evil witch, which one? I wasn't a witch yet. Now I can be that. I'm none of it, but it's okay. You can make up your words. You obviously lack the creativity and the novelty and the essential spark. You also don't know social engagement. You lost your adolescent essence. Oh, I wonder why. Wait a minute. Modulation, dysregulation. Oh, yes, the boxing gloves that people like to use every now and then. Very interesting 4D stories for you out there. That's not what you're going to find here. So here, 5D ascension energies are when you're rising high and you're going to love to be a divine masculine and a divine feminine. So the divine masculines allow themselves to be captured by those divine feminines because they don't want to create their own union with their own hearts and guts. And that's how I'm going to pose it. So they choose to be captured so that they may be given a meaning. So that meaning will be stripped away the minute that that divine feminine of theirs is stripped away. So they're just as vulnerable as day one from the beginning to the end. And that's what happens when people don't own their self. Observe, witness, narrate. Don't own your mind, you don't own you, you don't own your destiny. Don't own your body, you don't own you, you don't own your destiny. The therapists help people to own themselves, the ones who need that. The ones who pretend that they own themselves, you're going to watch them continue to think that they own themselves as shiny stars. And that's their soulless, which is something that I consistently will see as the fancy men and women in suits who channel guidance as well and bring to you messages, distort every bit of that message so that they can create a group. Now, I have to use words to organize ourselves. That's why 5D Collective, but we're not a group that is separate from humanity. No, we are empowered human beings who embody our divine feminine, divine masculine. This divinity is not to be used in the way of the God word. No, it is you are a piece of expanding consciousness with your left and right mode, and you consistently are open to change because you have a whole self. I learned about the embodied brain from Dr. Daniel Siegel, all my courses with him, all of the attachment trauma courses. So what I share with you is that this, as well as you, in the 5D frequency and in the Enlightenment Soul Age group and or in an Enlightenment vibration, is a restorative, embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating person. You can do mindfulness, spirituality practices with me. You can go and do therapy with somebody and keep on doing therapy and have a community and do all that. In either cases, it's your choice to access the depths of you and to be able and make use of that which is the brain and the ascension energies are bringing up. Everything that your body wants to process, because trauma charges are stored in the bones, muscles, tissues, as our lovely Peter Levine shares with us, and then as Bezel van der Kolk shares, the body keeps a score, the mind keeps account, is what Lisa, whatever her last name is, Stephen Porges presents how our lovely polyvagal theory doctor, he's still working behind the scenes to prove it, and then Patrick McNamara, neuroscientist, proves there's no demons in the body when there's nightmare after nightmare. Now, all of the scientist people, they're still building their data. That's fair and square. I have faith. I already know about the kindness and the goodness that lives within you. God told it to me, and so did Jesus, which is why I stand here as a mystic with faith, knowing that those of the Holy Spirit are not all together because we have those who divide us. That's okay. That's why we have spirituality. And that's why we have Sadhguru. Because those who are true to faith will know that we come together to say, yes, there's human kindness in every heart. They may be unkind. They can reclaim their unkindness in the absence of needing to be shamed. The very thing that has brought forth this horrific, shitty way for people to treat each other in dysregulated, modulated embodiment selves, not aware, not accountable, not regulating. So believe me, when I meet any facade, it's unimpressive. And divine masculines, they're unimpressive until they're empowered. Divine feminines are unimpressive until they are empowered as well. Again, I'm a divine feminine, so for me, it has been meeting my counterparts and being able to consistently choose to be this divine feminine. And when I've met divine feminines that have not embodied and do not embody their divine femininity, well, I learn how to mind my own business. As God informed me, Maria, be humble. They don't know. Don't cast no stone. Don't play God, Maria. What did Jesus tell you to forgive? Okay, did you make that promise? I did. Okay, so what do you know? I'm going to walk away now so that I can disengage completely from any of that unkind, unimpressive Cusco business, because that's exactly why it's a heartbreaking moment, because I did accept defeat a long time ago, and I did accept defeat recently. There will be those who choose the human suffering love narrative, and that means they choose to stay in unresolved trauma of their own. It is the year 2024. I do personal development, self-help, mindfulness, and spiritual living. I'm not here to talk about social topics. I'm here to say those who choose not to be their self, I know who they are. We welcome them. They will not necessarily welcome us, but that's okay, because we're not asking them to give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. We're saying, hey, I am, use your name. You want to be friends? Yes, cool. I have these ideas. I have these lifestyles. I have other, and whatever it is, the minute that they begin to be in whatever, emotional, mental, physical, if they're intelligent, you're going to have a good time. If they lack some of that, you're going to still have a good time, because you're the playful one. I have a good time all the time. Who are you going to consistently build relationships with? That's going to be the embodied divine feminines, divine masculines. Okay, so with that being said, let's talk quickly about those lovely channeled songs. So we have Being Yourself Mindfully and Flawed with Integrity, divine feminines and divine masculines. And the funny story about this, which I was trying to share with you all in one of our episodes, was that the first two were not supposed to be a part of the playlist, but they are supposed to be a part of it. It's just I wasn't looking for them. I couldn't remember the name of the song that was singing in my head, because that's how when we channel, if you're not a channeler. So what happens is the words come, the messages, and then emotions arise, but also songs will come in, and energetic imprint will come in. So long story short, I was tuning in my head, hey, they're Delilah, but Delilah was the part that I was like, wait, what is the word? I remember, and so what came first was Lila and then Layla, because I'm like, it's not these two. I don't even know the song of Lila, Oasis. And so I went to listen to that one. And then I said, Layla, yes, I know that one from Eric Clapton. Okay, but I said, but no, it's not that. It's not that one. And with Lila and Layla, though, we have messages from our lovely, again, let me just double check my notes. This one is our divine masculine and his messages. Doesn't have to be gender specific, by the way, and it's not. It is, which one you are based on descriptions. If you have questions, let me know. I'll make some episodes in the future on that, but it's always subjective. However, I can describe to you what the differences are. And we already talked about it as well. But, okay, where is it? Okay, here it is. So it's with the divine feminine. So Lila, angels, stars is what came to my mind when I looked through the lyrics. Okay, the music, it's okay, but it's not the tune of the frequency, nor is Layla, nor is Delilah. So it's once we get to the fourth song, Come and Get Your Love, that we're beginning to get into the jive of that 5D frequency, which is always love on a high. When you're sad, you still are going to choose to bring yourself to your ventral vagal, because you're going to use mindfulness. So prefrontal cortex, focusing attention in that awareness, bringing in kind intention, which is why we have the Kali, so my nervous system is getting aware of something with my amygdala is how I'm going to bring it to you. Then I get Shiva because I'm going to be like, okay, let me breathe. Let me do that meditating, quiet down body, okay? And then I'm going to bring in Krishna Lila, my social engagement, my prefrontal, and say, okay, what's up? What am I like and not like? And what unknown am I dealing with, unexpected, unwanted, from an open heart, not a closed one, and it's not broken, and a gut that is working just fine. There's no physical threat. So come on down, get into your social engagement system, and what are we dealing with? And when you're with people, the beautiful practice is that you get to be aware of your embodied brain, your nervous system, and you're recalibrating because you're in the present. So that's when you are a integrated brain. Your default mode network is downregulated. You're not scanning self and others. You're aware of yourself, and then you're aware that you're attuning to other, because I'm present. So I'm curious, open, accepting, and loving, and I'm attuning to you as we're interacting because you're in my relational field and we will have others around. So my insula is active because I'm in a physiological state of compassion. My amygdala was alerted that I'm engaging with you, so I'm alerted to the person in front of me. My prefrontal cortex is on, my insula is on, and that's because I'm, again, in a physiological state of compassion. I'm securely attached to Maria, and I'm not afraid of being Maria at all. Doesn't matter what you're going to do. You do this, great. You do that, I'm impartial. I don't give a shit of what you're going to do right now. I'm tuning into my nervous system, and I'm noticing how I'm tuning to your guitar string, and then I'm saying, okay, I want to be in my relaxed guitar string. That's how I'm going to break it down. So as I'm doing this is because I have the sixth sense of introspection. So I am living a life of meaning and connection beyond my five senses, beyond the solo self. I have my narrative self, my relational self, my core self has no shame. I'm not afraid of it. I have no unfaced fears. I can contain all that is my emotional spectrum. We can thank my panic attacks for that one too, because I've had practice being able to self-regulate as they take place and as I'm out in circumstances and I'm not overwhelmed. Okay, so I'm not being overwhelmed. I don't know of any clinical dissociative moments. I don't have that. I completely have none. I've seen it though. I've seen pseudo-alive people. The 4D mystics are pseudo-alive. They will have moments of where they have lost moments of life, so they have clinical dissociation. None of those who are 4D mystics have I seen them take their long-term therapy at all seriously. No, they all don't go at all. The ones that I've met, they don't grab that humanity to reclaim it. They are busy with spiritual bypass words, and that's a whole other story. So you will find that they're not expanding the human love vibration right now. Every time ascension energies come about, they're expanding nothing. They're feeling afraid. They're feeling helpless, hopeless. They get upset, angry, sad, all of those emotions in their teenage version with a 3-year-old that has a shame button, and how I'm going to break it down to you, because they have rejection, abandonment, injustice, humiliation, shame, wounds, and they're not tending to them to get their humanity, their whole self online, and to integrate. Integration of the brain is how they would help their fear receptor and their brain heal from the trauma charges that are wanting. No, they're coming up. And whatever's going on, we have non-bilateral integration. They're being overwhelmed, which is why the window tolerance shoots out the roof, and they have clinical dissociation and they think it's funny. Or they think pseudo-aliveness is awesome. I've seen them in my classroom. Okay, these are teachers, some of them. And none of the people around me seem to figure it out, except for the ones who are experts that I got to learn from. And they learned, no, they know how to handle all of that because they can recognize it too. So when you're attachment trauma informed and you are embodying wholeness, you'll recognize it like I do, like when Dr. Daniel Siegel described to me what it feels like if somebody is getting off on something that they're using as they get into this re-traumatizing thing. And that's a whole other story, but it's just gross. Yuck. So there's that. Then you have also meshing. So when people are trying to have you fit in their self because they don't have a whole self that has a specific feeling, when people are basically in a attached cry, they're like clinging on to you. It's almost like somebody's suffocating you. So yeah, there's a way that you will know of descriptions matching when you learn from the experts like Dr. Daniel Siegel, and then you're a person who has this introception, but you're also present. So again, I'm aware, I'm attuning to you. I know my nervous system, how it works, because I own Maria, observe, witness, and always narrating. with inner growth mindset. And so I'm not lost. Every ascension energy, there's more of my pure consciousness connection, my pure energy, and Maria is present. She can put to the side, it doesn't matter. That's why there's no ego death, dark night of soul, or me losing pieces. Although, yes, our heart goes through transformation. That's a whole different story. And in fact, yours, for those of you who are feminines, you didn't have necessarily that come forth. We'll talk about it in some other episode, but you definitely will have finally created enough of experiences for the divine feminine right now that you have a cosmic heart. So you will finally have understood what it means to be humbled, to know you don't know everything just because you have clairs at all, not even remotely close. That when you have the squirrel attitude, there's no need for you to bring it anywhere. So whenever you're getting upset, and whenever I've gotten pissy in my pants, I am, as a divine feminine, always able to have my communication with source, with God, and I do. That's who I take it up with, not with the person, because the person and or the situation is the opportunity for me to do inner growth and expansion. So I'm grateful. Automatically, I have that third step to the mindfulness living, the third pillar of the mind. I have kind intention. Why? Because I'm living true spirituality and mindfulness. Unlike the Zen master, again, he has this thing called laundry. When people call their emotions laundry, it means it weighs them down. So you're not using your prefrontal cortex, which means you're not in a physiological state of compassion. In fact, you're in a physiological state of empathy. You're using your temporal junction, which is why you're not in your social engagement system, and it's why you're going to get the burnout thing. Because your temporal junction and the other area for empathy that they talk about, it actually, the temporal junction relates to the past based on your experiences. So you're now applying your own subjective experience and way of thinking and feeling to something, which means you're using an opinion of your own, the judgment, your personality. You're not doing true spirituality or pure consciousness because you're in the room. And you also aren't making use of your human mind and body because you're not in your prefrontal saying, hey, none of my business, their business. I don't need to use words to describe the situation. I can look at it from the subjective, objective reality of something's happening that I don't like. Words you use, they create a level of objectivity to your subjective experience. They also allow you to have a lack of charge because words do matter. Not only the vibe and the frequency, but the way you're formulating. Your narrative will matter to how you can describe what you are witnessing. You want to make it personal, you can. You want to make it non-personal, you can. This is why some people say you're detached. That's why enlightenment so age group. It is not detachment in a way of being absent of emotion, though. It is a choice of me being able to tell myself not a what bleed leads story, which is of the 16-year-old little battle people, okay? Because that's a small energy once you understand the emotional embodiment of equanimity, which allows you to be turning knowledge into wisdom and wisdom into knowledge and enlightening, and then bringing the essence of you from the adolescent essence. So your essential spark stays lit, passion. Your social engagement, you stay building, enriching relationships. Then you have novelty because you're not dumbing down your shit because of some weighed down emotion that doesn't mean anything in that moment, which won't help you at all. You're just weighing yourself down, Zen master with laundry. So novelty means let me allow myself to let Shiva in the room. It's nothingness. Let me allow myself to remember my secondary human consciousness, which is I have a secondary consciousness I wish that I could know, because I am aware of the narration that I'm having as I'm observing it. And I don't even like to use that word because it's very personal as you're doing it, when you're mindfully, consciously aware of thoughts, emotions, and physically living a moment that you don't want and you don't think it's necessary. So you're choosing to be subjectively objective and saying I like, don't like, which is where Dharma comes into the mix. Words that people want to make it sound fancy. That's why they have 4 waves of twin flames now. Bullshit. This is what I'm going to share with you all. Makes me laugh in my asshole when I see all of it, because they're making it out to be an identity, and I don't like facades. But also, they are small energy, and they're not even talking about things in a way that could expand people. They're talking about it in a pseudo-alive way, which is a story, which makes it into a movie, which is not what this is. Because I'm a Maria, you're whatever your name is. I have 24 hours. I could die tomorrow. Do you understand the enriching experience? Because see, this is to me, I'm living with the complete depth of awareness that I'm sharing. This is what social engagement is, what it means to be enriching my moment with you right now, not using some facade, which is a complete insignificant. To me, facades are insignificant. I don't want to waste my time with facades because they're not grounded in the substance of who they are. They just made up a story that sounds like a movie, taking away what the actual reality is, because they can't, like the Zen master, handle the depth of the emotional plane within their own embodied humanness. You see what I'm saying? So this is where self-help is for people who are ready to embody more, not less. It's also why people say it's bullshit and crap. It's not bullshit and crap. It's, do you know how to use the depth of you to say, I'm experiencing something I don't like, or do you want the Zen master's laundry, which is why he's out there. For the ones who want to say nobody can be enlightenment vibration, they all have laundry. They all have to be sad. Sadness happens. When you don't use your temporal junction, it's not tragedy. The people who use the temporal junction, they have suffering. They're not using their prefrontal cortex, and so they don't have the capacity to do what I just shared with you all, which, by the way, let's remember that the extended version episodes will be for our membership content, because what I just shared with you is very practical for the person who's wanting to put it into practice, but also because time is important and membership content will be available at a certain point, and that's my plan. So also that. Okay, back to what we were also discussing. Again, the 5D ascension energies for a 5D mystic are always going to be expanding, and they're not laundry. We don't have ego death. We have more of ourselves. So as I got through, finally, hey there, Delilah, I was like, okay, this is the one I was looking for. So when we have hey there, Delilah, we have a person and or two who are in a relationship long distance, and they're not in a perfect sweet spot for their independence, physically, financially. Okay, so we have part of what a 5D frequency can know of, but then there's also the tragedy part, and we're going to put the tragedy part to the side. So this man who on the lyrics, it's something about I'll make it one day with my money. It makes me think of those dramatic teenagers and music and the identity of a musician that doesn't need to be with this drama. So the part about, yes, we all put our best foot forward to ensure that we can get what we want, what we need, totally. Okay, so we move from that one, 3, transformation. So you get to allow yourself to completely expand the depth of how you choose to live every day. So when you choose your destiny, it's because you will have chosen yourself mindfully and spiritually, meaning to live that way. You don't have to, it's not a must, it's a potential choice. You're not a facade though, okay? So you don't do the superficial, and the depth of your emotional, mental, and physical plane don't bring you to tragedy or laundry, because you use your prefrontal, you put it into practice. That's because of what I described of how you can use the inner growth mindset to deal with the unknowns, uncertainties, unwanteds with an open heart while going with the flow. Whose flow? Your flow. Whose heart? Your heart. Who's being who? You're being you. Your mind, your heart. It's open, and your novelty and the creative expression, they're yours, your essential spark, your social engagement. And so you're enriching yourself because you're living the restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating in your day-to-day with people, securely attached, a whole self. Okay, so no clinical dissociation is going on. We don't have any of that. If that is anywhere near anything you have, then there's good therapists. You want to do that first. Once integration is on a roll, you'll know when it's time, because you'll be able to handle all of the emotional body, and they do it with you seriously, versus the people who are not therapists, who I know who they are and what they offer. But again, that's a facade who's offering you a story, who's going to have partly what you will want, yes, but not all of what you can be. Because they gave you a story and not your humanity. Your child parts, if you don't claim them and you don't learn to self-regulate by self-attuning to the depths of you, you don't get earned secure attachment ever. Which means you can't explore that depths because your insula and your default mode network they're not working the same way as mine. Mine is in a physiological state of compassion, my body. So my insula activates, my amygdala is alerted, my temporal junction, I don't stay in it, I go to my prefrontal cortex, and I'm readily available to be engaging with a person without the burnout, without me suffering, without me attuning to their nervous system. No, I recalibrate my own by being curious, open, accepting, and loving of whatever I'm picking up on your frequency, making sure what's mine. How was I 2 seconds ago? Okay, I was doing this. Okay, so recalibrate, Maria. Okay, cool. Recalibrating. I'm now going to be attuning, though, to you. So we make a sound. Dr. Daniel Siegel calls it a me and a we, we. Okay, now if I'm resonating, means that we're having a good conversation because we're trusting. If instead I meet your adaptive child part, that depends if they want to get to know their inner world or not. If they want to reclaim fragments of their self, then they're going to enjoy and resonate. If they don't, they're going to get into Cusco attitude or squirrel attitude, and that's okay because I'm going to be Maria, who is knowing what's happening as a pacha. I won't be doing lecturing. I will recalibrate myself. I will know that I'm having what is not a resonance, and I will disengage from it as effectively as possible because I know what I'm doing with my prefrontal cortex. I'm trusting because you didn't break my trust just because you have a modulated, dysregulated, adaptive child part with your nervous system in a way that comes from your own upbringing of unkindness and whatever it is that took place, but your boxing gloves are unnecessary. So your teenage Cusco entire demeanor of self-bridled expression or unbridled self-expression, the I'm right, you're wrong business, the I'm gonna lead you down my breadcrumb of trails because I know I'm right, you're wrong, your entire way of bringing me low self-esteem, indirect communication, passive aggressive, not knowing that boundaries are having a fun time, because really that's why we don't use the word boundaries, by the way. So the only ones who need to use them are still the ones who are reclaiming their own self. I'm not going to be a person who will oppose that. I will, with integrity, speak my truth and understand if there's something of me that you will tell me in my face, though, that you are unappreciative of. So I will be able to say, I'm so sorry that that's offended you, and we can shake hands and agree to disagree and part ways. And that's it. And so you will not be making any enemies. You will be at the most saying thank you so much for time and agreeing to disagree with people who don't resonate and trust, because they're not welcoming the differences and the exchange in a way of them being mindfully aware and spiritually aware that they have a differentiated self, you have a differentiated self, and we're not meeting eye to eye on an opinion or something like that. And so, again, another example. And the come and get your love. So this is when somebody knows what they want, and this is Redbone, and the guardian of the galaxy. So our lovely galaxy consistently comes forth and is present with all of us that are in the lovely spiritual community, because again, this is with channeled guidance for you on this lovely solar eclipse and new moon. And so here's where the spirit in the sky, that also Norman Greenbaum. So you have been able to notice synchronicities, encounters, you've had maybe dreams, maybe, a meeting, soulmates, twin flame perhaps, whatever it is, you have been having the ability to harmonize. So your feminine, masculine are harmonized, divine, and with other, I've got you under my skin, Michael Bublé. So romance is definitely in the air for some of you, and you have a fun Billy Joel, you may be right, I may be crazy. So fun romance. Beyond the Sea, Bobby Darin, Beyond the Sea. Some of you might be long distance, so you're waiting to be able to cross that ocean or the sea to come near and to share a moment of young at heart. Michael Bublé again, that's number 10. So young at heart is definitely what we are when we come together with the empowered divine masculines and divine feminines. And with that being said, I'm going to save the other channeled guidance messages for another episode so that you can enjoy this one for now, and that way I can also allow myself to regroup the next channeled guidance messages. This is going to be specifically for our divine masculines and divine feminines. Thank you to all of you who have stopped by, like, share, and subscribe. And if you do know someone who navigates the 5D mystic, spiritual, self-help, mindful, living and loving wave, and that they do want to bring forth more of their humanity and enlightenment, and to choose love and to choose their self, so to take own of that destiny. Again, send them over to IHP. We also have a audio podcast version alone, which I have some plans for now. We have Friday channeled guidance messages that don't go off on YouTube, meaning online, but everything else for the month is going to be repurposed content from YouTube, just in case you want to know that, and I'll keep you posted. But yes, you can subscribe to that one. We also have Ask Maria, opinionated columnist episodes for Spotify's audio podcast of IHP, which you find on Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and that is already available because I have subscription-based model content option available. So if you become a subscriber, you send in the email. It's kind of like Dear Abby. We say, Dear Maria, and you ask whatever it is that you want, food for thought from me to you, because you know I can bring to you that which you're looking for in a way of extra support to give you food for thought. Let's make sure you're the owner of your life and you're the owner of your destiny. Anyone outside of you is simply brought to you in an effort to support you to become more. If you are instead seeking in a way of, I'm not sure of myself guidance, I will share with you, good therapists are great for a person to take the ownership and learn to love their self first, Terry Real, and to become a functional adult / inner child adult, Terry Real, REAL, or any of the therapists that are trained by him. He works with couples too, okay? But he's great for you to get that lovely embodied brain, your nervous system, and yourself into being able to be empowered. And then you come and get extra. Why? Because I care about you understanding how important it is that if you want to own your humanity, it means yourself. And I didn't know that the self is so challenging for people to own, because I've owned mine since I was a kid. My 3-year-old, she was already differentiated, and that's because I have a mom who allowed me to be myself, and she attuned to me, and she just let me do me. And then she said, okay, yeah, the world is going to be dangerous, but don't worry, you're going to be able to get up with your 2 feet and 2 hands. And God said the same thing, and so did Jesus, and there you go. And so I learned how to be able to not have to make it on my own, but that I can walk a walk and talk a talk. Everything happens for a reason. Every action has a reaction. Everything that's meant to come your way will always come. That's why I have known I do own my destiny and my fate. Although I do know with faith that God will have something in store for me. I don't question it. I know it. It's called love with Jesus and all of my brothers and sisters. And it's called our lovely planet. So tapping into your infinite higher human conscious potential experience, that's what I get to support you to do with being yourself, which is why, again, it's bonus, it's extra, because you want to have a solid grasp of yourself whenever it is that you're living life. If you want to live a life that is of true spirituality, so spiritually and mindfully, it means a life of meaning and connection beyond the soul self. You can only do that with an open heart, not one that has trust breaks or brokenness or insecurity. That is where you're going to get captured. And I'm trying to support those who don't want to be their facade and get into being captured because of somebody using the pain point and their perfect wording to say, here's our superhero and supervillain group and we're saving, and then they go and do this. They're all vain. They all are. We all can look vain, but no, there's the vanity ones, and it's not even about them being vain, because seriously, there's a poor inner child in there that's insecure. So we say that's soulless. They think that they are, wow. They keep on blaming Lucifer, and in the meantime, we know this is what's happening inside of them because, again, the facade. It's the modulated, dysregulated, embodied person. They don't know prefrontal. They don't know compassion. They don't want forgiveness. They tell you how dare they talk about humanity and kindness and that. Okay, so again, thank you for stopping by. We'll see you again in a little bit.